Um, we're live. Hey, Sheree, have you ever been hired because of your diversity?
Because of my blackness,
Yes.
my adjacentness to blackness. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we should have a discussion about that because why? Why in 2021 is that a thing?
Let's do it.
What's up, y'all? It's Limelight.
We're not doing that song on YouTube or on iTunes or something.
Something.
Over here, Jamie. Shout out to Miku and Cheyenne G for the.
Yeah. No, that's lit. Oh my god. Step into the limelight. Okay, so yeah, today we're going to be talking about. Oh snap. Today we're going to be talking about diversity and inclusion and what the
Does it mean? Jesus.
You know what I'm saying? I think we've been like kind of boiling over this topic for a little while now, and like, where did these roles come from? Like that wasn't a thing that I remember seeing in roles 10 years ago, like with different businesses and stuff like that. So it's just kind of like it's interesting that you can see like a lot of tech companies and a lot of like big companies. And I'm talking about the companies that like Snapchat and Google. And,
everyday companies.
Everyday companies that create these roles that are very, I don't know, weirdly titled diversity and inclusion roles. What's the purpose? What does it mean? Is it really like affirmative action in disguise? We'll get into that. We will get into that. But before we do, we're going to get into our flashlights of the week.
We like the flashlights.
Creative news and reviews.
Get him, Josh. Flash.
Yeah, that's all you get.
Speaking of Kanye, wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on.
Oh, here we go.
Since we've been there, I'm sorry. I have to. He didn't drop the album.
That's y'all friend.
Child, we did a whole little segment on him. He did not drop that album.
Well,
I heard the show went very well. Shout out to KS, who was our like exclusive on the ground person at the the Barclays Center. Don't show me between the room, but I heard he had New York. Oh, sorry.
It was I think it was the
Mercedes-Benz Center. Thank you. First of all, he showed up 2 hours late.
Okay.
Started late.
And
didn't do the whole show because they wasn't playing with him at the Mercedes Center. They were like, okay, if you go over your time, you have to pay us more money.
Right.
And he didn't want to pay. So it got cut short. So people were upset. But, like you said, it's typical Kanye fashion.
It's typical Kanye fashion. And isn't it, he's sleeping at the center?
He's sleeping at the center in the sports room.
The album.
Supposedly it got not so great reviews. I'm not sure from who. People said they couldn't even hear it.
Right. Well, I don't know.
Donda. You got to do Donda right. But yeah, I just had to jump in there real quick because we talked about it last week, and so I was like, I thought by now I would be like, gosh, the album is great, or it's not. I can't. He didn't put it out. It's a mess. It's a mess.
So let's talk about more Olympic stuff, and specifically Simone Biles. Okay, so Simone Biles withdrew from the women's team contest after the first rotation on vault Tuesday, citing her mental health and the adverse impact and the immense pressure she is facing to perform at these games. So basically, she's putting herself first, as she should, and she decided to withdraw. And I know that she got a lot of
flack.
She did get a lot of flack about that, but then there's also been an outpouring of support, especially for celebrities who have applauded her and have said, good for you and standing up for yourself. And it's like, what is your take?
Well, for one thing, I think it's something that's being more brought into the spotlight because also Naomi Osaka did the same thing. She decided that she was going to be doing press conferences because she needed to protect her mental health. Yeah. She got fined a whole bunch of money. I just think it's good. I mean, for my own selfish reasons, I may have been slightly disappointed because I was looking forward to seeing her.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I understand And when you really dig deeper into it and kind of peel back the layers, I did see an interview with Dominique Dawes. And I used to love Dominique Dawes back in the day. She was like the first Black girl gymnast that I knew, you know, from my recollection. And she did an interview and she said, you know what, there's this thing in your mental when you're an athlete, when you're just not on point, you know, and in this type of sports, this particular sport, you can really hurt yourself, you know, and you've seen that with other gymnasts in the past. You know, normally they would push through it because that's what they're told to do by their coaches, and then they would just further injure themselves. There was one young lady back in the 90s that did that. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she ended up pushing through, going beyond her limit. You know, her coach was pushing her, everything else, and she ended up having to retire because of this injury that she suffered by not listening to her body and paying attention to the signs. So I think if that's the case, I mean, she's still the GOAT. Like, she has more medals than mostly anybody ever in the Olympics. So I think, you know, if she wants to take a break, let her do it.
According to NBC Sports, so she actually, Simone Biles quoted, this is her quote, she said, "This Olympic Games, I wanted it to be for myself, but I was still doing it for other people. It hurts my heart that doing what I love has been kind of taken away from me to please other people." And I think that happens with a lot of, not just athletes, but in general, like a lot of people might hold the weight of the world's shoulders doing something that they love, but now they accommodate, you know, to please others, and then it takes away the essence of the passion.
It takes away the fun.
It takes away the fun, it takes away the passion. You know, actually, she got some support from Michael Phelps, most decorated Olympian in history, and he's actually emerged as a mental health advocate since retiring from swimming. And so it was really good.
Did you see the commercials that he had?
Yeah.
They were great. It was like he was sitting in an empty pool. It was deep. It was real deep.
Yeah, he went there. So I like that, you know, he came out and supported her. And, just shout out to Simone Biles. She is still the GOAT. Like, she's very decorated. She's extremely talented. And she, you know, she's looking out for herself. You know, and I believe that she will come out strong, if not stronger, in the future.
I'm all for this generation. I'm not sure if she's considered a millennial or the Gen Z. She's probably born like 96, something like that.
I think she's Gen Z.
So then she's probably Gen Z. Yeah, so I'm all for the Gen Zers.
She's 24. She's Gen Z.
Yeah, taking you know, ownership of their mental health. I think that leads me to be, you know, enthusiastic about the generations to come.
It's demonstrations of people taking a stand, talents taking a stand against the machine. Right? In this case, the machine is the games, the industry. And rightfully so. Go on, Simone.
Shout out to Deuce the Truth. Let's get it. Tuning in from YouTube. But yeah, did we even introduce ourselves? We got a whole new audience.
Oh, we sure did.
We so used to this hot.
Yeah, we have. What's up, y'all?
This is what we do. We have conversation. But if you don't know already, this is Limelight Live. I am Shariq LeMay, and we have my co-host. You already know, and you know we're here to just discuss life, but we like to do it from a creative standpoint.
Absolutely.
So our main topic of the day is going to be about diversity and inclusion, but more so diversity for hire, which kind of has a different connotation. So I think it's interesting we're talking about Simone Biles with her being, you know, the Black gymnast that everyone can think about within recent years, minus Gabby Douglas, who's also a GOAT. I think, you know, a lot of spotlight being on her, and a lot of the negativity that she's getting is from the far right.
Of course.
You know, thinking, oh, she's not representing the country. I'm like, but y'all could rub 2 pennies together and give them to her and not give them. Like, y'all don't care about this girl. You know, so it just kind of makes me, you know, just makes me feel something that way.
It's funny because I kind of feel like it's just in general with a lot of sports. I just feel like because a lot of people of color are, you know, the main stars in the sports world, and it's. I mean, I'm teetering on some words
shifty
here,
waters,
but you know, when you talk about like trading and what you're betting on. And you can almost, to a degree, equate it to slavery, you know, because it's like, well, their lives, their entertainment, that's, I don't know.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're picked up. These athletes are picked apart.
Yes.
They're picked apart. You know, they're looked at based upon their athleticism, based upon their physique,
Yeah.
so to speak. So definitely, it does have that somewhat of that connotation.
And they make other people money.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
You know, but
there are bigger monsters at play.
that's why I'm in the entertainment industry.
Which is a whole other beat. Speaking of entertainment, it was very entertaining. Well, not entertaining, but this past weekend, the baby has come into serious backlash. The baby.
Who?
Right. He's come into serious backlash after horribly destructive and homophobic comments that he made regarding HIV and AIDS at the Rolling Loud Festival in Florida. Now, when I saw the clip, I remember waking up that morning, like getting on Twitter, and people are talking about, baby, I can't believe he said that to him. And I was like, what did he say? And I see the clip, and I was floored. I was floored.
Okay.
And it just, you know, and I don't want to repeat what he said, but he said very destructive things. He said lots of misinforming things regarding HIV and AIDS.
Just ignorant.
Just completely ignorant. And when he tried to apologize for it, he dug himself even deeper and said, just spilled out more ignorance to the point where, like, you know, some people came out and said that, John, you made Elton John mad. He made like this, you know, this big.
Sir.
Yes, Sir Elton John came out and said something. Dua Lipa, who has the song with the baby, she made a comment and said that this is not the artist that I thought I met. We worked together. Something. She's like, I will forever and always stand with the LGBT community. Demi Lovato also came out and said something. Now, when you start upsetting white people, since all of this has happened, the baby has now lost his partnership with Local Man. He was also pulled from, I forgot what the name of the festival, he was pulled from a festival, some big festival in the UK.
Okay.
He was supposed to participate in. And I don't know, there's a lot of momentum going on here. Like, it's not looking good for him.
He's really having a bad week. He's with the foolery. And it just doesn't make sense. I didn't hear specifically much of the initial commentary that he made, but I did hear the quote unquote apology, which wasn't an apology, which was more of him further trying to defend his comments.
Yeah.
And it was just stupid. Like, I barely even want to give comment to it because it was just so dumb. Like, it just was stupid. I can't stand it. And on top of the fact, he was also in the news this week because he brought out little Tory Lanez at his show, who has a restraining order against him towards Meg Thee Stallion, who was there.
Yeah.
They had just played Meg's song. I'm like, what is this baby boy doing?
It's a mess. It's
a hot mess.
It's a hot mess.
So you making women mad, you making gay LGBTQ people mad, you're just making everybody mad.
Yeah.
Who gonna save you?
One person tweeted saying, quote, I've been living with HIV for 2 years now. One person tweeted 2 years ago, the insensitivity and ignorance of people like the baby and others who have seen defend him probably would have caused me to take my life. Folks, HIV is not a death sentence. The stigma associated with it is. And that's basically the main thing. It's like all he did was further ignite ongoing stigma of HIV and AIDS. And that's just like it's so damaging. So damaging.
Yeah.
It's a big community.
I can't. I never really was into his music like that.
Well, you know, I mean, this is what I'm gonna say. I can't expect much from a grown ass man who calls himself the.
Oh.
And it's unique because another one of the comments that he made, which is kind of like a jab at the LGBTQ community, was about you know, he said something to the effect of, talking to the men in the audience, if you weren't in the parking lot giving fellatio to another man, raise your lighters up. But it's so funny to me with all of his lyrics. I was like, wait, legitimate. Like, for example, what video is it where, like, you know, it's got the girl who opens her mouth and she's got a river of semen flowing out of her mouth, and he's surfing the wave because she just gave him head.
How about him talking about them having unprotected sex, but how many baby mamas do you have?
Girl,
Okay.
it's the ignorance.
Yeah. We gotta come up with a little sound for the stupid. You know how Charlemagne has the donkey of the day?
Right.
We got
In the meantime. Womp. So,
But
you
yeah.
know, that is what it is. Whatever. All right. Moving on.
Pretty much.
And so another woman standing up for herself. And this was really making its rounds on Twitter this morning. Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney due to breach of contract with the release of Black Widow. So, according to E! News, apparently E! News can confirm that the Marvel star filed a lawsuit in Los Angeles Superior Court on Thursday, alleging that her contract was breached when Walt Disney released Black Widow on its streaming service, Disney Plus, at the same time it debuted in theaters. So let me break this down for you. Apparently, there was a contract in place that Black Widow was supposed to be an exclusively theatrical release, right? And so Walt Disney Company used the COVID pandemic as a reason to release it on streaming and theaters. Now, the part of it is, though, on the contract, there was no renegotiation on that because the money that was made from opening weekend from the streaming platform Disney Plus, none of that went to Scarlett and her team. And so it was a complete breach of contract. And when Scarlett's team tried to reach out to Walt Disney before this even happened to look at renegotiating the contract, there was no response, and they just went ahead and made the decision on their own.
Scammers don't scam. We talked about that last week.
Yeah, you know, and so I mean, Scarlett is up against the big monster. Like Disney is huge. However, it's a big stance that, you know, Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. and, you know, all of these men who have played their characters in the MCU, had it been them, we don't think it would have been the same outcome.
Right.
Why should she just kind of like grin and bear it? Why? Because she's a woman? Like,
right.
So, you know, she's an integral part of the MCU as it is. She's been in movies for 10 plus years now. And so it's just a matter of good business.
Yeah, and then I think they were charging $35 to watch it on
$30. Yeah, for premiere access.
Yeah, which is crazy. Like, and I don't know how many people. I don't have the numbers pulled up in front of me, but I know I didn't watch it.
I watched it. I saw it in the movie theaters.
Yeah, I would prefer to go see it in the movie theater. I wasn't paying $30.
Yeah.
No.
So at the box office domestically in the first 3 weeks, it made $150 million. And then
Box office.
Yeah, that was box office sales. Sales on Disney Plus during opening weekend were 60. Which is a pretty significant number.
That's pretty good. But she didn't get any of that.
Yeah.
That's disrespectful.
Yeah, she didn't get any of that. And because it doesn't just go to her, like it goes to her team.
Right.
And stuff, but it's according to her attorney, so this is what her attorney says. He says, it's no secret that Disney is releasing films like Black Widow directly onto Disney Plus to increase subscribers and thereby boost the company's stock price. And that it's hiding behind COVID-19 as a pretext to do so.
Don't they know we all outside?
Yeah. He said, ignoring the contracts of the artists responsible for the success of its films is furtherance of this short-sighted strategy, violates their rights, and we look forward to proving as much in court.
Oh, he's like, we're looking forward to
Yeah, like, you know, I mean, they have a case.
And they're going to get more than what she should have even gotten had they done the right thing.
Right.
So, oh, that's so annoying. But I'm so happy that she's standing up and she's doing the right thing and she's being vocal about it. And I had asked you before, like, is this going to perhaps impede on, you know, further, you know, Marvel movies for her in the future? And we're pretty much knowing that she's not going to be coming back. That this was her last hurrah.
Yeah, it was her last hurrah. Black Widow. She's gone on to say that in interviews. And so I feel like maybe that might be another reason why this felt right. Because, well, what did she have to lose at this point?
Exactly.
She's already played the character for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Marvel universe, her character is now deceased.
And she's making a statement.
Yeah.
Wait, she died?
Yeah, she died in Endgame.
Oh, that's right. I thought she was gonna come back.
No.
See, I always be thinking everybody gonna come back.
No, Black Widow. The Black Widow movie is a prequel. It happens.
It's her
it
origin.
Happens in the events. No, where it lands in the timeline is after Captain America: Civil War and before Infinity War.
Got it.
So that was the time period where she was on the run. So you'll find out where she was when you watch it.
But see, I just be wanting everybody to come back. I'm like, Iron Man gonna come back. Y'all gonna come back, especially after watching this Loki show. I believe you can go get everybody back.
I don't think we'll get them back. I think we'll get variants of them.
There we go, variants.
Yeah.
See, I be watching my stuff, y'all.
Yeah, you watch. And that was the end of our flashlights for the week.
Yeah.
Flashes for the week. Okay, girl, so it's about to get ready.
I'm ready to talk about this because I've had a day.
I am ready and I'm real. Okay, so let's talk about it. Diversity and inclusion. They didn't exist before. Why have so many of them emerged in the past few years? Are they forced attempts from companies trying to fill a quota of hiring people of color? Are these roles the new version of affirmative action? Let's discuss.
So the reason why we came up with this topic is because, as you all know, we're independent contractors, we're doing our thing, and sometimes we may seek out employment if we decide to do so. Especially in the entertainment industry, you can kind of go where you will. And lately I've been seeing a lot of roles and a lot of people, especially if you guys are on LinkedIn, getting these diversity roles, these VP of diversity roles, this diversity and inclusion officer, so have you. Let me just go down the list. I just typed in diversity jobs in Los Angeles, California. Director of Diversity and Inclusion. The Director of Diversity and Inclusion will provide thought leadership and support working with the firm's Diversity Council to develop strategic approaches to the efforts. This role will identify and measure strategies that help an agency attract, develop, promote, and retain a diverse, inclusive workforce. Why is this a necessary job?
So here's my take. For one, I like what you had said. These initiatives seem forced. One.
Very much so.
And to me, it's like, rather than general inclusion, these roles kind of look like they're created to fill a quota.
It's very much so giving me tokenism.
Yes.
It's very much so giving me tokenism. And I say that because 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, this particular person that's fulfilling this role is an African American person.
Yeah.
And what necessarily gives them qualifications to have this particular role is the fact that they are the token black person or brown person that you decide to put into this role. I'm going to read another one. This is at Fox. The first one I read was the Birch Agency. I'm not sure who they are. Shout out to y'all. But this is FX. FX Network is seeking coordinator to support the Senior Vice President of Creative and Cultural Diversity. There's a Senior Vice President.
Oh.
That means there's a Senior President and a Junior Vice. They got all these roles.
Yeah.
What do they do? And to serve as a day-to-day conduit. I like that word. A day-to-day conduit between a wide array of internal and external stakeholders responding to needs around creative and cultural diversity. This is FX. I'm going to do one more. We're going to go to WB, Vice President, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Warner Media is a leading media and entertainment company that creates and distributes premium and popular content from a diverse array of talent, storytellers, and journalists to global audiences through its consumer brands, including blah, 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 including HBO, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim. Warner Brothers employs people all over the world in a wide variety of disciplines. We're always on the lookout for energetic, creative people to join our team.
Uh-huh.
This feels like bamboozled.
To me, this is how I put it. These roles kind of seem more like they're educational puppets.
Exactly.
It's like the person of color's responsibility to teach white organizations how not to do this.
And it's not our responsibility.
No.
We've been very vocal about that within the last year with the whole George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. We're exhausted. It's not our jobs to have to teach you to be inclusive, to have to teach you how to be respectful, to have to teach you how to just not treat us as token brown, black people. It's not our jobs. Educate yourselves, go and research, go read a book. Find out who Frederick Douglass is. Find out, just go and do your own research. So, although it sounds like a backhanded compliment.
It is, and it's funny because a lot of these roles often pop up when something happens within a company that is deemed racist. Like when Gucci released, what was it, a sweater? Oh no, it was a beanie, a scully with the monkey face on it, and it was overtly racist. And then all of a sudden, this new diversity and inclusion role was filled, and
Because they hear part of our resistance. They hear part of what we're saying, and the narrative is that we need to have a seat at the table.
Yeah.
But we don't need you to go cotton pick some random seat that you just want to put there just for show.
Yeah.
No, we actually want a seat at the actual table that makes decisions in the creative rooms that are there. Don't
Not a
just
seat that teaches us how not to offend you.
Yeah.
Like that's literally what it is.
Yeah, it teaches you how to hire us and not get canceled.
Right.
That's pretty much it. So it's like I said, it's a backhanded compliment. Do I feel happy for my counterparts who get these roles that I see pop up on LinkedIn all the time? I'm like, go off, sis. But at the same time, it's like it feels like a backhanded compliment.
It does.
Like,
it really does.
oh, you cute for a black girl.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh, you could get this VP role, but it's got to be for diversity and inclusion because you're a black woman.
Right.
That's how it feels. So I just, it's needed. I struggle. I absolutely do struggle with this.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's rather than general inclusion, it just feels like these roles are created to fill a quota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And that's why I feel like it almost ties in so closely to affirmative action. It's like this is what we need to do. Well, we did something bad. Let's hire a black person. Or let's hire a queer person. Or whatever.
So we can say, I'm not racist. Look at my black friend.
Yeah, this is our initiative. This is our initiative to get on the right track. But it's not so much their initiative. It's let's create a responsibility for someone else to clean up our.
Exactly, and one of your people, not our people.
Right.
How would we feel? I'm wondering if anyone in this role is actually Caucasian. I'm curious.
Right.
I haven't come across it. All the time I see that, these big name companies are hiring, the person 9 times out of 10 is black.
Yeah. I mean, I would wonder if, if they seek just in the other period. So like if it was Caucasian, but the person was trans. Or queer or under that umbrella. Does the diversity inclusion include a white woman? What do these boardrooms look like, and when that role is filled, what is it that they're looking for?
So, okay, because I'm wondering, I'm looking at the one that I just read. It says the essentials: a bachelor's degree or above, highly desired, or equivalent experience, ability to define, scope, track performance and metrics, ability to draw meaningful insights from data and to create strategy. Project management, creativity, and strong communication skills. Must have exceptional relationship building skills. Ability to pay close attention to detail and understand written and oral instructions. Yeah. I just, general, like, what is your job? What exactly is your job? There's nothing concrete in here. It's not saying, do you have a special skill pertaining to a special type of software? Do you know how to build out programs? There's no, like, what are the qualifications for a vice president of diversity, equity, and inclusion? I'm going to apply. Should I just apply?
Yeah.
I'm just going to apply. What's the pay, though? Oh, see, child, it says $55,000 to $150K per year.
Depending on experience. What experience?
Exactly.
Y'all just created this.
I just can't do it. But I will say the reason why I do struggle with this is because I do see, like I said, we say we need to have our people in the room. So case in point, I'm not going to put any names out there because I don't want to get, in trouble. But I've been on some sets where I think that, my voice needed to be heard.
Yeah.
To be a representation of my culture, so if you decide to do a casting and you want to have the black girl do something that's, not so physically attractive, I'm just going to say, because I don't want to be too specific, but the white girl is over there looking really cute, or if you just so happen to hire a larger woman model for a particular role, but she's doing something aggressive and she's doing something rough and tough. And then you have the little skinny white model over here doing something really cute. These messages play into our psyche, into these young women. And, just the imagery of Black women having to struggle comes through a lot in a lot of these campaigns. Yeah. And we're tired of seeing it.
Yeah.
We have a call.
Do we have a call?
We do. Is it a call or is it a message? Oh, it is a call.
It is a call. Here we go.
Hi, caller. State your name and your reason.
Hi, my name's Alvin.
Our favorite caller.
Right, I call every week.
So actually, Alvinus is the diversity committee. It's on the. You are the diversity committee chair for Pepperdine University.
Okay, now.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. For the behavioral psychology department. And I was listening to the show, and you guys are touching on a lot of things that I kind of agree with, like what the hell do I do? And I have this conversation, multiple conversations with my director, and she's like, Alina's, you speak about how in the classrooms, when we talk about diversity, talk about just race in general, how
Hello?
they're not white.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah, we hear you now.
Okay, so I don't know, but when I got this position, I asked, what the hell am I doing? Like, there's no job description. And to me, what it seemed like was I'm a black male, and you want me to be the token of the school black guys. I mean, I was one of the only black guys there, anyways. But you want to put me in the position because George Floyd. It was right after the George Floyd murder,
right.
All that. So, but it kind of why I decided to run for that position though, because you guys made me feel kind of bad in a
Don't feel bad.
Oh my God, you're coming like let me call them right now. No, but I feel kind of bad in a sense because there weren't real roles defined, but at the same time, I think that's a good thing because it leaves me in a position of power to kind of make things right.
Right.
And you're right; they should already know.
Right.
They shouldn't have to be taught. But after years of conditioning, there's racism conditioning. It's embedded in there. It's within their genetic endowment at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
And you have to be exposed. You have to have a voice in the room, and this is where that equity piece comes in. Just say, no, this isn't cool. The way this segregation, this racism. I think you guys even said, which was a fact I found earlier tonight, that diversity in the corporation used to be white. That is what diversity was. So to have a voice in it's a powerful thing. I mean, you're in a position to kind of shape the way a lot of these organizations are built and structured. And I don't think that position is lightly. I just don't know what the hell I'm doing at this point. I'm not even still alive. And it's gotten to the point where I have to flip because I'm thinking I have so many ideas, but I have to put this position on the diversity.
So what do you do there? Like what have you done like that's tangible? Like do you put on events? Do you what do you do in your particular role?
So what I'm doing is finding experienced therapists that can speak to the therapeutic process of establishing it with other races because black people of color don't go to therapy. And a lot of it is it's based off of kind of psychology, and they don't know how to relate to the struggle. And really, that's what it is. They don't relate to the struggle, so it's like you come in there talking to them. How do you feel? And did you have a good week? And
Sounds like my therapist.
Unrelated, right? It just doesn't work. We don't connect. And I think that's why people turn away from therapy. So, in that sense, bringing in, establishing the resources to bring in and kind of hold the talk for the students. I work with a lot of the students are in some type of MFT class coursework or psychology coursework or behavior analysis, coursework. So, but we all have to establish rapport with our clients. And I'm not gonna lie, no offense to any white viewers, it's harder. It's harder to connect with students or people from Compton when you grew up in Temecula County. Okay? And you say you want to become a therapist and you want to serve inner city youth. And that's the demographic that you want, but you can't hold a basic conversation.
Right. So then here's my next question. Being that you're saying you experience these difficulties, do you feel as though you are securing the bag? Are they paying you what you feel you are worth?
So I am volunteering. I'm volunteering for this.
Oh,
so I have to somewhat be passionate about it.
That's good. That's good.
To some degree. Now, I heard that you were reading some of these shop titles. I might need to go ahead and apply them.
I'll send them to you.
Like that 150 now.
Look, right? Based on experience, you have the experience.
But definitely, I think that I'm more than qualified to, if not anything, create a meaningful that people can benefit from. And enhance their therapeutic practice for sure, or process.
I like that.
So I'm not getting into any other thing for that.
Well, you're just a stand-up guy.
I can tell you that within the agencies that I work in, these positions are popping up.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
The talks, the conferences that I will be attending once the first time.
Come through certifications.
Talking through the stuff. Right, that's coming through the bunch, y'all. No, it's that's the conferences, all they're talking about diversity. Yeah.
So interesting.
I'm struggling with this. I'm just struggling. Like I think it's necessary, but like I said,
it also feels like it's too late. Like, why are y'all just catching on to our existence?
You don't think it's too late?
I don't agree. I don't think it's too late.
It's just what I meant is that it's not too late because it needs to happen regardless. But it's almost like, dang, y'all finally catch up that you can't. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it does seem a bit calculated. I get that.
Yeah.
And to a degree, yeah. They should have been had it. But I don't want to discredit the moment in history that we're in right now.
Right.
Of course.
We're definitely going through a reckoning.
Minority, and in these rooms, in these positions, what you say, that one of those positions requires you to have a bachelor's.
Or higher. Yeah.
A lot of, and this is no shot at our race at all, but a lot of our race, they don't go to school. They
may not finish.
To get in those positions to stay at the table. And that's real talk. That's real talk. And maybe that's another reason why it's so wordy, or we're confused about what it is we're doing. Because they just created the role and they don't even know what it is. They want somebody to come in and
figure it out. Yeah, it says 7+ years of progressive responsibility specializing in diversity programs preferred. Well, you got 7+ years, I think.
Actually, I have 10 years working as a head.
Let me send you this job then. I'm going to send you the link. But thank you so much for calling in and giving us that perspective, because it's good to know, someone from the inside, what your experience is and your outlook on it. And I love the fact that you're actually volunteering, because you're not doing it for the money, you're doing it for the culture. Kudos to you.
Right. Thanks, Boo. I love you guys. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Love you too. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Until next time.
All right.
I think that is so interesting. Like I said, it's a catch-22. It feels like a backhanded compliment, but at the same time, it's needed.
Right.
Have you ever been in a position where you were hired because of your diversity representation? Like that's why they hired you.
Maybe, although I will say it wasn't at a white company.
Okay.
Back in New Orleans, I was hired by a Black-owned company because they didn't have anyone who was Latinx. And I think
that happens.
Yeah, that happens too. Although, to me, that wasn't like that wasn't, I didn't take it in a way that felt like that's why they hired me.
Mm-hmm.
No, but they obviously wanted my voice, my perspective, and what I added to that agency was like a marketing agency. So that happened. And then in my other roles, no, I think for the most part, I haven't really experienced it, although I have worked in dominantly white spaces. My experience through the hiring process wasn't that.
Mm-hmm.
But there were things that I noted as a minority or as a person of color, or a queer person of color,
Mm-hmm.
in a dominantly white owned space
Mm.
was interesting in how I had to navigate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say this because you actually a light bulb just went off in my head just a moment ago. And another reason why, although I struggle with these roles, they are important because, like I said, we do need to have a seat at some table. Yeah. I know that, and I'm just going to tell all my Black folks, they like to hire white people for their businesses.
Yeah.
They want to have a white person in the room because it makes them seem more professional. It makes them seem, more grandiose than what they may think that they are. Being an independent contractor and reaching out to a lot of these small businesses, I would see that they would, go with a white person to do their production before they go with me, and it's just because, it's going to make me look like, it's like I have the Marc Jacobs, and they'll pay them, whatever their rate is because, it's just,
and then they'll nickel and dime.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a psychological thing, that a lot of my Black business owners, entrepreneurs, and just Black people in general that they have. You'll go ahead and you'll spend your money with Billy, but I don't know if I want to pay you that much, Sharik.
Right.
So I think there's a conditioning on both sides that we need to dismantle.
Yeah.
Because it's really a thing. Even within us, we're programmed to think, you have a white person working for you. You made it.
Right.
Yeah. And that's even with me. I think I've had to go through that process of untraining myself to think that way. Like, oh wait, my whole team is Black. Let me go get me a little Billy over here.
It's funny that you point this out because a previous agency that I was with, a PR agency, it was white owned, but I want to say 80% of our clients, like our client roster, was Black men. Right? And so the thing about it is, like you said, there's this mentality, this conditioning on both sides, that ultimately to me leads to white supremacy. Because I remember internally hearing things like, when it came to like bigger events that we had for our Black clients, internally I would hear things like, they're going to use us because they know they want a white face.
Yeah.
They know it.
That happens.
They know it.
All the time.
And so, and I'm like, to me, that's so destructive. Like, that is so damaging that we think like that. I don't think that way, but that there are people that do think that way. And it's like, I don't want the face value of quality work or quality anything to be judged by your race. Like, why? We can all deliver.
Yeah.
And so to me, like, I found that to be very problematic. And that was kind of like a thing that snowballed to me ultimately leaving that agency. Because I was just like, things were happening where, like I said, 80% of our client roster were people of color. Most of them were women. More often than not Black women. And the rapport that I had with them was very different than a woman. And sometimes I would get hit up on the side, like, on shoo when, like, let's say contracts ended and stuff, these clients would come to me and be like, hey, can I continue to work with you, but not with you? Because they knew that I spoke the language. Like, you know what I'm saying? I understood them as human, and I understood who they were speaking to. I understood their markets. And so, because there was a disconnect, because I was the one who was on the daily report and then upper management.
And naturally, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's just you are able to connect because you have an understanding that they don't have because there's a gap in between what you received in the world when you were growing up. It's just point blank period.
But then here's the thing, going back to what I said, what you were getting at is that, they were trying to get at me on the side, but then I was being nickel and dime versus what they wanted to pay a full rate agency. And so I was like, well, I want to help you, but I also need to look out for me.
Right.
And so it was just this constant like back and forth. I don't even like doing it.
All right, we're so against PR.
Oh
No,
my
that's
God.
yeah, and I just think sometimes I've even had thoughts to myself, within my own company and having clients. Like I've had a client that didn't pay their whole balance,
Mhm.
and then I'm like, can I get a bill collector?
Yeah.
Can I put them in
And
collections?
you can, yeah, small.
And I'm like,
claims
should I get a Becky or a Adam to call them and be like, excuse me, so you know what I mean?
Right.
Like those are thoughts that still naturally go through my head,
Right.
unfortunately. But and then I even think, if I was white, would they have not paid me
Right.
on time?
Mhm.
It's just certain little, instances of the way that I'm treated as a Black woman business owner that I'm sure, they wouldn't do if it was a white man or a white woman.
Yeah.
So there's definitely this conditioning on both sides.
Mhm.
And maybe it feels like a backhanded compliment. Maybe it feels like a catch-22. Maybe this is just the beginning of, unraveling this conditioning within
Yeah.
ourselves. Because what else could we do?
Yeah. What else would you do? What I will say is that it's not all that. I think hopefully this is the turn of new things to come in regards to having us sit at the table. I do hope that these roles don't just specifically work on the whole diversity aspect and and the whole educational aspect of it, but rather that these roles also create space for us to have equity in these companies and to also move the needle a little bit in a direction that is completely inclusive.
Yeah.
That isn't just tailored to one lane.
Yeah.
On making this company look a little more woke because you there.
Yeah.
Versus
Definitely.
the ultimate progress of all people within your company.
Yeah. So so one of the things we talked about on the very first episode was about how I was disappointed that Lovecraft Country had gotten canceled.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are very disappointed.
Yeah,
Those who don't really understand. I mean, you kind of broke it down to me that they kind of completed the book, and in order for it to go on, they would have had to have created a new storyline, which Misha Green, the writer, she did do.
Yeah,
but she's one of those people that has really been standing out within, behind the scenes in terms of her being the Black writer, and she's our voice right now. And I'm just curious as to when we're going to get to a time where it doesn't have to be that. Like, does she always have to write about the Black experience? Does Regina King always have to do something about the Black experience? Even with Watchmen, there was still this essence of the Black experience.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't want to say it's tokenism because these stories need to be told.
Absolutely.
But is there a means to an end? Is this always how it's going to be?
I think we're beginning to see the page turn in that aspect, because now we do have storytellers that are telling Black stories, and I think they're doing it effectively. But you're right, it shouldn't just be one thing.
Yeah, like Jordan Peele, his next movie, it's still from the Black lens. So I don't know.
Yeah, but I would like to see more of that happen, because for so many years the Black experience has always been painted through the white lens,
right?
Or or the queer lens. I'm sorry, the white cisgendered hetero lens has always been to paint the picture for what the queer experience is,
right?
Whatever that may be. So I do think that our writers and our creators should be able to expand,
and then not just be the Black experience. Yeah, because even like I said, I'm conditioned. Like when I have thoughts about what type of content I want to create, it's very niche to me, to what I represent.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, okay, well, what else can I create? Like, do I always walk in my life, and then am I always consciously, always aware of my Blackness?
Yeah.
And the answer to that is absolutely yes.
Yeah.
I don't think a day goes by or an hour goes by where I'm not fully aware and conscious of my Blackness.
Yeah.
I may not be necessarily thinking about me being a woman, but I know whenever I go into a room, I'm aware of my Blackness.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's completely unique to brown and Black people, is that we constantly are aware of that.
Yeah.
And is there ever going to be a point where that's not something that's at the forefront of our creativity? I don't know. I can't even tell you of anything that I've thought of creating that didn't have some sort of notion about me being a Black woman.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just having this aha moment right now. Yeah. So
no,
it's interesting.
and I'm glad you pointed that out, because the same thing for me, because you know, projects that I want to look into the future, like I am always aware of my Latinness. Latinidad is what they call it. That word's kind of problematic, but I'll get into that. Okay. But what I am constantly aware of is my queerness. Always. I walk in that same thing, like in a room, like I know I'm the gay guy or whatever, right? But then I also think about when it comes to my storytelling and what that's going to look like for me in the future and the projects that I plan on working on. You know, I will be creating content that speaks to that experience for me, and you know, and history in one queerness, and then another history in Latin history for me. But also, I don't speak to just one audience.
Right.
And so the content that I want to create it in a way that speaks to a wider audience, because I don't want it to just be.
Yeah.
And so the problem, the obstacle is executing that effectively in a way that more than one audience can understand.
Have you ever been in a situation where someone wanted your input and they wanted it from the LGBTQ perspective or the Latinx perspective, and maybe they got frustrated with you because that's not what they were getting? Have you ever felt like you were frustrating someone because you weren't meeting their expectations in terms of you giving them that representation? Or were you even ever aware of it?
I don't know that it's been that intense. Because I also like to say I'm only one very small fraction of what that experience is.
Right.
You know, the queer umbrella is so many different experiences. I'm only one lens out of millions. Right? And so I can only speak to my experience. And I don't know that anyone's ever gotten frustrated with me, but I think hopefully whenever I've worked on something, I had to collaborate and kind of offer that. That what I do have to contribute is somewhat of an inclusive lens.
Yeah. Well, you know, we're gonna just keep talking. I might be applying to some of these diversity and inclusion. Me and Alvina's gonna be sitting right there next to each other, staring at each other, trying to figure out what the heck to do. I got experience. Do you have 7+ years? Yes, I've been Black for 33 years. Thank you.
Okay.
That's all the experience you need. And just shout out to Black women in general, because we've been talking about education. What Alvina's had mentioned about, us, our people not finishing college. Black women are the most educated minority group in America, and strong for years, and talk about the bottom of the totem pole. I think you and I both represent being at the bottom of the totem pole. We're not men, and we're not white, period. We're heterosexual men and we're not white, so it's like, damn. Like, this life.
Right, this life. I come from immigrants. Like, it's just,
shit.
There's so many things. It's like every possible obstacle that you could think of. Like, I think we've experienced.
Yeah.
As far as like our identity and just existing and trying to find a place. I know. I think I still struggle with that now.
Yeah, I think we all do. But I'm gonna keep searching and trying to uncover more, and we're gonna see. We're gonna check in with Alvinus a little bit, and I'm gonna keep looking at these jobs. Diversity and inclusion, VP. Let me be the VP in diversity and including me into the table. But I just hope and I pray, whoever these people are that are getting these roles, that they're doing their due diligence and they're being treated correctly.
Absolutely.
And they're not feeling, shunned and afraid to speak up. Because I on the way here, I called my best friend, shout out to Heather, and I told her about a recent experience I had on set where I felt as though they casted Black women in a manner that wasn't so woke, or I feel could be teeter-tottering on the "you're going to get canceled" line for putting them in this particular position. And I spoke up about it. They didn't listen. But I asked her, should I had spoke up about it more? Not that I was afraid of losing my job or anything. It wasn't my position to make that call. But when it got filmed and it got shot, perhaps I should have spoke up more. Perhaps I should have said, hey, I don't think this is a good idea. Twitter might come at you for this. So that's just something I need to work on, and I hope, it'd be good to have a group of people that you can kind of bounce these things off of.
Right.
And
learning how to speak up.
In retrospect, I think I should have spoke up a little.
And I've had those experiences too.
Yeah.
And maybe in the past, not having the words on how to. I think that's come up for me. I don't want to defend this. How do I stand up to this? Because something's not right here, but I couldn't find the words in the past.
Yeah.
I think I learned in the last 3 or 4 years, I've learned so much on how to stand up for myself and for others.
Right. But the last thing I want to be in, where I'm concerned about these roles as well, is I don't want to be the diversity police.
Right.
I don't want it to be where you have these roles of these people, these Black people that are like, you can't do that. Nope, can't do that. Nope, can't do that.
Right.
I don't want to completely shut down creativity for the sake of wokeness.
Yeah.
And it's sort of unfortunate because we're always kind of teeter-tottering on that line, more specifically because people are so sensitive about it these days.
And there's like a magnifying glass on every single thing.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure every box is checked.
Yeah, and there's times where I thought something was just dope, and then Black Twitter went off on it, and I'm like, oh, shit. My bad, I was wrong.
I've stopped dead in my tracks before too. And I'm like, oh wait, I can't like this.
I'm not supposed to like this.
Let me
Sorry.
let me unsubscribe.
I thought it looked good. What was it? Sheen, or Sheen had gotten some hot water lately.
The clothing company.
The clothing company.
Sheen,
something.
SHEIN.
Yeah, so they were jacking some black artists on their phone covers, and so they got canceled. I'm like, dang, I just put in an order for like 5 shirts.
Right, and the stuff comes fast.
Like, dang, another one bites the dust. But yeah, I hopefully we'll find that middle ground, and hopefully it's not going to be about that all the time. So in conclusion to our talk today, I think that let's go ahead and have these diversity and inclusion roles, but let's just do it the right way.
Let's do it the right way,
and let's have it be a means to an end.
You know what? It would be good if whoever's hiring these roles, those people are also either people of color or queer or whatever, so that it's not coming from a white person just needing to fill this role, but rather one of us seeing the need and being able to help create the space for them to really expand and grow in the company.
I like it. You know what it's reminding me of as I'm thinking, that was it Hitch? Look, I've been in a relationship with someone, I don't even know the damn app. Is it Hitch? Hinge? They have the little commercial. Yeah. It's the app that's meant to be deleted. Yeah. I think that's so clever. And I think these roles are the roles that are meant to be deleted. Yeah. Eventually, these roles should not have to exist.
Right.
Hire me for some advertising.
Come on.
But thank you for tuning in to Limelight Live. Shout out to Rich Voice, Rich Pen. How you doing? We had to have this conversation because this was definitely on my heart. And believe it or not, this isn't just a corporate issue. This is within entertainment specifically, because entertainers, we reflect the masses, entertainment and arts and creativity. So let us know what you guys think. Thank you for tuning in on this glorious Thursday. Tune in next week at 8:30 p.m. PST. Shout out to Alvinus, who always comes in and gives us some great perspective.
This episode gave me an idea of what we should talk about next week.
I'll
talk to you about that.
All right, y'all. Have a wonderful night. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye-bye.
It's